Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar of this morning. We had a first one already last week on the OSD CEN member commenting. Today is a repetition of this training. So we're recording the webinar. I would like to inform you that it's all recorded and we will share with you the presentation of today. So you can listen back or look back at the slides later on. So without further ado, I'd like to give the opportunity to present themselves. On the second slide, the speakers of today, they will guide you to the whole process. You're all muted by default, so you cannot ask your question out loud, but there is the Q&A part of this webinar to submit your questions. So speakers will have a look at the questions and reply as many questions as possible. So thank you very much, Estelle. The floor is yours.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Estelle Boma and I'm managing the OSD project for CEN Senelec. And today I would like to start the webinar by introducing the people that will be the speakers today, but as well answering your questions, because it's actually the people when you will interact with us on OSD that will answer to your email. So it's good that you have a bit of knowledge. So today I'm joined with Dorothee Stadler, who is our analyst on the project and who will do the demo. And also Gonzalo Asensao and Sébastien Simon from the production department that are acting as product owner for the OSD. And on the next slide, I will share the agenda today. So today the focus of the session is to provide you a training on the member commenting module in OSD, so for voters. And more precisely, how to add comments during inquiry in OSD. So I will detail a bit. And we will show you how to use this module with two different options. Reminding you as well which accesses you need to have to be able to do it. And we will also explain a bit about the support and the next steps for the OSD project. So just a reminder, and sorry, my voice is leaving, it seems, but just a reminder about what is the OSD. So the OSD is about implementing a new platform, a new tool to draft standards, replacing Word. And the thing with the OSD is that it's not only used to draft the standards during the collaborative authoring process within the working group. It's also used to do the member commenting, so the formal vote, inquiry and formal vote stage also within the tool, as well as the CCMC internal editing, so meaning the preparation of your documents is done also in the OSD. And once the member commenting phase are done, then the working group, the TC, is able to resolve all comments and prepare the documents for next stage as well in the OSD. So it's an all integrated, the standardization process is all integrated in the tool. And as I mentioned today, we're going to focus on the member commenting. So more precisely, the member commenting is a module that is been used, that will be used by National Mirror Committee to provide their official national comments during inquiry and formal vote. And the scope of today's session is the inquiry for projects that is drafted in OSD. This point is also important. As you've seen on the previous slide, it was all about having the whole drafting process in OSD. So it means that this module is only for projects that have been drafted in OSD. Something that I want to highlight before we show you how to use this module, how to do your inquiry, is that when you're using the OSD, the internal regulations are still prevailing. The rules are remaining the same as for an inquiry without OSD. However, to get access to the tool, all your accesses are based on your role within the global directory. So a role within your within the global directory is giving you a certain type of access in the OSD, and that's really important to understand that it's fully automatic, because we're receiving a lot of support questions, often also within drafting during drafting stage, with people saying, "Oh, I don't have access. OSD is not working." No, often it's not that OSD is not working. It's because you're wrongly registered in the global directory, and so you don't have access, or the correct type of access. So here for the member commenting, we have two kinds of role. We have first the national contributor role, so within each NMC, and you need in the GD to have the two roles that are indicated there, national committee member or national observer. Then you have the OSD voter role on the right, and this one is not giving you the ability to vote necessarily. It's giving you the ability, so it can be a bit tricky. It's giving you the ability to submit official national comments and to manage comments from the national experts. And so to do so, you should have the roles that are indicated in the list, so voter inquiry and different types of voters, or national secretary and the national secretary support team. So that's really important before you watch the demo, that you understand that we have two types of role, two different levels in the OSD, and that's what is driving the access process within the OSD. And so this being said, I will hand over to Dorothée for the demo of the two options.
Right. Hello, everyone. So as Estelle said in the very beginning, when you use the member commenting, you have multiple options on how you want to use it. So the first option is for those of you or those members of you who are actually using the national mirror committees in the global directory. So there, if you have that mapped, so you've set up national mirror committees and mapped them to CEN committees, then you can also use the OSD to gather the comments from your national experts. And the second option is if you don't use the NMCs, then you can just gather the national comments outside of the OSD and then import and enter them manually in the OSD. So it's important to note that for a single ballot, you don't have to choose which options you use. You can actually do a combination. So even if you have NMC set up, you don't have to use that option. You can still import comments or manually enter comments and vice versa. And also you can, let's say, change your mind during the life cycle of the ballot while the ballot is open. You can use any of those things to enter the comments. So to make this a little bit clearer, I just want to explain what our understanding of the process of national positioning, voting, and commenting without the OSD looks like. So as a voter on a given CEN ballot that you're registered with a role to vote in the OSD, in the global directory, you go into the CEN Enquiry ballot application and you cast your vote and you submit any comments if you have through a Word template. This is what is currently happening. What we then assume is in order to determine what your national position is, and do you want to accept the ballot, vote yes or no, do you want to provide comments or not, you will actually go and consult some national committee members. We know, you know who these people are. So it's either they're formally registered in the GD or you have a national system that lets you know who these are. But we assume that you will go and consult with these people sort of informally through PDF or Word, or even you have some national solution, maybe you're using ICE solutions, etc. So these people are known and you're asking them for feedback. But then those people, they might actually go and consult some of their colleagues, some other national experts, where mostly you have no idea who they are. And again, here you go through maybe some emails or sharing a Word or a PDF document. So those are the national experts that potentially your national committee members will go and consult. And then, of course, you have the general public through your public inquiry. However you organize that, it doesn't really matter whether it goes first to your national committee members or whether it goes directly to you as a voter. It doesn't matter. But this is the general public and can be anyone. You have no idea who that is. And so we are assuming this is all of the whole process of getting to national position, voting, and adding comments. So with the OSD, If we are talking about option A, not a whole lot changes. So you are still a voter for the CEN ballot, and you still need to determine your national position. You will still go into the CEN inquiry ballot to vote, but what changes is that you are not submitting a Word file with your comments, but you're actually going to add these comments in the OSD. And you can then review the comments and make sure that those comments are now your official national comments. And there's a direct link from the ballot to the OSD. So then if you have in option A mapped your national committees to the CEN committees in the global directory, then the members of these national committees, they are also able to comment in OSD directly. So no more sending you comments manually through a Word template, etc., that you don't have to collate. They can go directly in the OSD and they can directly comment in the OSD. So those are the people that you have identified in the global directory to those mirror committees that have been mapped. And this, and only this, is the scope of the member commenting in the OSD. So this is at inquiry stage and very soon also at the formal vote stage. It is how you enter your national comments linked to the inquiry or formal vote ballot. Everything else is out of scope of the OSD. So we are not, OSD is not a tool for public inquiry. You cannot consult the general public. You have to have an account in the global directory. You are not able to give access to, let's call them random national experts. They again have to be registered in the global directory to be part of the OSD. So here you can still do your informal consultations. You can still send them a Word file or PDF file and get their input, and they can come back with a commenting template as they did today. Same for the public inquiry. You can still continue to use exactly the same tools as you have today. Nothing changes here. Now, when the online document is available for commenting, well, the ballot is open and you'll have in the reference documents and links, you will have a direct link to the online document. And therefore, from there, if you click on that link, the OSD will open and you can enter your comments throughout the whole voting period. So there is a certain life cycle to these OSD comments, and that's basically also to safeguard a little bit so that you still, as a voter, still have control of what you want to submit to CEN. So when a comment is entered into the OSD, first it will be national only. It's internal to your NSB. People from the same NSB can see all the comments. However, no one else can see the comments. CEN can't see the comments. The working group can't see the comments. Other members can't see your comments. This is really siloed. While we're doing member commenting, it's only within your own NSB that you can see the comments. So the first time you enter a comment, it will be a purely national one. It's not visible to anyone. So then what you need to do, or what you can do, is actually manage your comments before submitting them as official national position comments. So you have a national comment internal to the NSB inside the OSD. And then as a voter or a national committee leader, if you're using that option, you need to look for each comment. You need to look at it, if required, edit it, reposition it in the text where you want it, and then decide on what you want to do with that comment. Do you want to share this as your official national comment? And we call this make national in the OSD. Or you can decide that, no, this is not a comment that is pertinent, and let's not share this one in particular. So even if you get multiple times the same comment formulated a little bit differently, that doesn't mean immediately that you're going to submit that to CEN. It's actually really there so that you can still review it. So once you've done that, you then once these comments are made national, these are then your official national position comments, and they will be shared at the European level as soon as the ballot closes, and only when the ballot closes. So that means that you can still change your mind. You can start the second day after the ballot opens. You can enter a lot of official national comment, official national position comments into the OSD, but you can still review them. You can still change your mind. It's only on ballot closure that those become visible, and they are automatically linked to the ballot. We know that a lot of you want to have some time, even if, for example, if you're using iSolutions or others, other balloting systems nationally, you don't want your experts to comment all the way until the closure of the ballot. So oftentimes the ballots maybe are the national ballots are closed a couple of weeks early or 3 weeks early, so that you can have time to review what you want to do. And this is actually why we have the feature called pause commenting. I'll show you later where that is. And that means that only the voters, only those with the role of voter in the OSD are still able to make comments. So any national experts are not able to add any more comments. So you as a voter, you can still add the comments, you can still resolve them, but the national experts cannot do that anymore. If I mean, I'm not an expert in this, but if you are using iSolutions, I know that there is an automatic link between the iSolutions ballot and the or in the CEN ballot, and you can then say, I want this to close 2 weeks or 3 weeks before. You can still do that in the balloting portal in iSolutions. However, that's not going to impact the OSD. So if you also want the commenting to pause in the OSD, then you need to actually manually do the pause commenting. And we're looking into whether that is something that could be improved going forward. So without any further ado, I think I shall show you what that looks like, this option A. And in order to do that, I have logged into a test document. My name is Joe Black for today. I work at SIS, our Swedish member. I had to pick one, so I picked Sweden. And you can see that as Joe Black, I am logged in as an OSD voter. Again, I think Estelle explained it earlier. An OSD voter just means that you can enter comments and you can manage comments. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can actually vote on the ballot. So maybe the naming is a little bit unfortunate here. So this is what the OSD looks like. On your left hand, you can actually, you have the outline, so you can go through the different sections of the document quickly. As you can see, this is a test document, so it doesn't really have a lot of content here. And before anything else, let me just show you how you would just go ahead and add a comment. So maybe your comment is that this should be the other way around. So maybe you'll select the text and you can see that the commenting bubble immediately appears. So you click on comment. You can then decide what type of comment is it. Is it a general, a technical, or an editorial comment? You can place your comment here and say, these should be the other way around. And then in the proposed change column here, you will see that the text that I've selected is already pre-filled. So I can just change it the way that I want it. You can see it will show a little bit a preview of what it would look like, track changes, and then you can save. So you can see that it's very, very easy to add a comment. Anywhere that you select some text, you immediately get the commenting button. And this is also what your national committee members would have done. So when you enter the OSD, you may already find some comments that are there entered by the national experts that got access. It will tell you who made the comment, on what time and what date they made the comment. So when you get in the first time, maybe you'll already find some comments. What you need to do, and what we've explained before, is that this here right now, it's just a national internal comment to your NSB. So for every single one of these comments, you need to manage them. And note that we have the ability to support or not support. You can also reply. So that means that if an expert enters this comment and then there is a number of people who disagree with that, they don't agree that that should be done, they can just click on I do not support. So you'll see that there's already 2 people said, 2 other experts said, no, I don't support this, which may make it much easier for you as a voter to know whether this comment should be submitted to CEN or not. People can reply to this comment. So for example, don't agree with this at all for some reason or other. So you can have actual discussions inside the OSD on each of the comments. Hopefully, people would not enter the same comment 5 times. So if they come in and they will look at the text, they will see that there is already comments there. They will see someone added that, and instead of just adding the same comment again, hopefully they would just type a reply and say, no, I don't agree, or maybe I do agree, but you should change it like this, etc., etc. So hopefully this will reduce the amount of comments that you get and the amount of repetitive comments that you get. But what you do need to do still is to decide what do you want to do with this comment that got entered by your national experts or even by yourself. So that's why we have the manage button. So if you click on manage, it will ask you what you want to do. Do you want to submit the comment? And that will mean that any tags or replies or whatever will be removed as you submit, or you say, I don't submit this comment. So if you submit the comment and you validate the decision, you will see that the comment magically disappears. Don't be afraid, this is normal because we actually have filters on the comments that by default, they show you only the unresolved comments because it's easier to see what you still have to do. But if you do want to see those that you've already submitted, you just have to adapt the filter, set the filter, and it will show up again. Right? So what you see is also that this comment is here twice now. One is the one that was originally entered. So this is your national comment. You'll see that it still shows the reply, it still shows the support, etc. And then in green, these are the submitted comments. And as you can see, this is now turned into Sweden. Instead of my name or anyone else's name, because this is the comment that will be submitted directly to CEN at the end of the ballot. Of course, if you have done this, or maybe you're a team of multiple voters and you don't agree with what your colleague did, or someone comes and makes a feedback and said you shouldn't have done that, you have always the possibility to change this again. There is the little 3 dots menu, which is the more actions menu. So you can change your mind. You can still edit it. You can withdraw it. You can add or remove tags. You can move it somewhere else, or you can completely remove it. So you still have a lot of options to change what you've submitted until the ballot closes. So if you, I don't know, if you add another, let's pretend I am a national expert and I say, this sounds wrong. Maybe it's not in this category, it's in that category, and you save it. So let's pretend this is another comment that you had received from your expert, and you decide, no, this makes absolutely no sense. I don't want to submit this. You go into manage and you say you do not want to submit this comment and validate your decision. But you need to put a motivation so that people will know why you didn't submit their comment or keep their comment. So if I do that again, you have a little icon saying that this is not submitted. It says on the comment it's not submitted. And as you can see, there is only this one comment. There is no green comment associated like you have for the previous one that I submitted. So this one is just not submitted. And you can filter them out. And you can then, of course, also provide a report on what has happened. In case you have received a lot of comments and want to share the comments with someone who doesn't have access to the OSD, if you go into the other actions menu, under the comments menu, you can export the comments, like all the comments or only your national comments, to Excel. So if I export all the comments, you'll say have a nice Excel file with 3 tabs, those that are not resolved, those have been resolved, and those that haven't been resolved. So if I save it here, I can, is this the right one? This is the right one. Sorry, I just need to go out. So you'll receive an export in Excel like this. So there are no unresolved comments, but there is one comment that was submitted officially as the Swedish position comment, and then there is this one comment made by Joe Black on clause number 4 that we've decided not to submit. So you can see that you have quite a lot of ways of doing that. From my side, I think this is all I wanted to show now for the option A. And I did not want to do that. I apologize. I'm confused with my my windows. Here we go. I'm so sorry. So before I take any questions, I just wanted to remind you about what are the benefits of using the member commenting and typically also the option A. We believe it improves the commenting for national experts. It facilitates your consensus building inside the national experts, so no more using comment collation tool and all of those fun things that you can do with Word, because national expert can actually have a little dialogue on their own comments. And it simplifies the submission of those national comments by the voters. So I'm just going to ask Estelle or Sebastian,
Yes.
is there anything that I should show that I haven't answered? I haven't looked at the Q&A.
No, so we had a couple of questions in the Q&A that we answered live, that we answered writing and
In
answer.
writing?
Sorry. Yes. However, maybe just something that just popped up for a question about jointly developed work, so ISO CEN, parallel deliverable. So the scope of today is about homegrown standards within OSD. There will be later on, so we're working with ISO to support the parallel deliverable within OSD. And so we will send the communication and perhaps propose training for this type of deliverable later, but it will be kind of streamlined, so you will not have to do the entire process twice. So that's just to remind here the scope that is not about parallel work. And that's it, Dorothée, so I think you can proceed.
All right. So if we now look at the option B as where you do not have your NMCs mapped, so you don't have national experts to provide you with some comments, then the scope of the OSD member commenting is really only you as a voter determining your national position, casting the vote in the inquiry ballot and submitting your comments in the OSD. So you can either upload them from a commenting template or you can enter them manually, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you now. So remember, if you're using option B, then your national committee members don't have access to the OSD, national experts, no one has access to the OSD apart from those people who have a voter role in the CEN, those people who are allowed to vote on the CEN ballot, really. So that makes the process a little bit different, but not more complicated. So if you probably recognize this. This is the Word commenting template that you may have and maybe want to import into the OSD because you don't want to type them all manually by yourself. What's going to happen is that every single comment is going to be imported as a simple comment. Whatever you put in your NSB column here, when you upload it, it will actually show that you uploaded it. So this would be me, Dorothy, and in this case, Joe Black, because I impersonate Joe Black. It will say that I imported this because I'm not yet, these are only my internal national comments. They're not the official comments yet. So we, of course, map the comment type. So if it says editorial here in the OSD, it will be loaded as an editorial comment. But what happens is that the comment will be uploaded to the title of the clause, right? And not to any particular place inside the text. So what you should do is move the comment into the correct location so that the Secretariat, when they receive your comments and they want to review the comments, they have a better understanding of what you actually meant. And the resolution is going to be quicker for them. When you have the same file, but the proposed change column actually contains a proposed change, the import process is exactly the same. However, we will add the proposed change into the comment itself with the label proposed change so that you know what was proposed. And here you really will have to move the comment and make sure it's in the correct location and make it a proposed change. And I will show you now how that works. So when you upload comments from your file, obviously first it checks, is the comment file valid? Any errors will be flagged and will disable the import. So in this example here, my commenting file contained a comment on clause 8, which doesn't exist in the document. So it will tell you this row is an error. The clause number or label doesn't exist in the document. So what you then have to do is go edit the file you're trying to upload, remove the row or correct the clause number, if that's what you need to do, until you're able to import it. So again, I think demos show more than theoretical slides. So I'm going to go back to my environment here and show you how you upload the comments. First of all, let me just filter out the resolved comments so that it's easier for you to see. So if I'm in here now, there are no comments in this document. And what I'm going to do is I'll go into the other action comments menu and I'll say load comments from file. Here it will ask me to choose a file. And of course, I have prepared something for our demo. I'm first going to show you a file that contains an error. Obviously, I made that on purpose so that I can show you how that works. And it's the same example as before, right? Here, we are trying to make a comment on clause 8. The comment is please remove the clause, but actually that clause, it doesn't exist in the document. So I have to start again. I can, of course, also export that error report so that it's easier for me offline to check all the lines that have an error. But to correct it, I just choose a different file. So I'll choose the one that I know doesn't have any errors. Open that, and it will show me that this file has 3 rows. So 3 comments, one on clause 4, one on 4.2, and one on 4.1. And they're all valid. So I can now say import the valid rows. Please notice that you also have here the option to submit all of those imported comments as national comments immediately. So meaning that instead of first uploading them and they're internal to your NSB only, they will be uploaded directly as your official national position comments, and you can then still edit them. That is really up to you on how you want to do it, but you will see that in any case, whether you submit them directly or not, you really should review them. So I'm importing the valid rows right now. and it's telling me it's successful and I can close the window. So now the system reloads so that it shows you the comments, and you can navigate to the comments, one comment after the other, using the little arrows here. And let's see what we can do with all of those. So here I'll see that on clause 4.1, I have a comment that says remove the example of entrained waters or oils. As I said before, this comment is linked to clause to the title of the clause. And if you put yourself in the shoes of the secretariat that has to resolve the comments after the inquiry is closed, if everyone leaves their comments like this, they will have hundreds of comments on this single clause, and it's going to be very hard for them to understand really what it is that people wanted. So here, in this example, what I would do is I will click on the More Actions button, and the first thing I would do is I would move this comment. So if I move it to the location that I'm talking about, place comment here, it's already now much clearer for the secretariat what I want them to do. It says remove the example of entrained water or oils. At least it's already exactly on the right position, and they don't have to go and look for it. Now, I think you can leave it like that, of course. But again, you see this is not an official comment yet, so I would need to manage that. What you can do, and what I didn't show you before, and you can do this on all of the comments, you could say, okay, I think I'm going to submit this one, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I need to talk to some colleagues, but I propose that we submit this comment. Instead of validating the decision, which will automatically submit it as mark it as an official national comment, you can have a save the proposed decision. Again, it disappears. Don't be scared. You can find it again by filtering on proposed resolutions. So if I add the filter to the proposed resolutions, I can see again my comment is here. The proposed decision is submit the comment. So maybe I went and I talked to my colleagues, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I was right in that one. I can only go manage. The decision is already proposed, and I can just validate my decision, and the comment is now my official national position comment. The same can be done, of course, with the next comment, where it says, well, it's referencing some figures here that don't exist in the document. Here you could maybe the person just didn't read through the document correctly, and they do actually exist, these figures, D3 and D4. Maybe what you want to do here is say, no, it makes no sense. The figures are there, I don't know, in clause 5, and I can validate that decision. And again, that comment is gone. Now, where it gets interesting is where people have actually proposed what they want to change. Again, you can see this comment is linked to the title of the clause. Anyone who would want to resolve it has to read through the whole clause, find where it is that meant to put the comment, and the proposed change is going to be difficult to see. So here, what you should do is, first of all, again, move the comment. And this one here is on this whole sentence here. So it's already better, right? Because it says you shouldn't use the word might. Here's the proposed change, but you can make it even better by editing it. And instead of just having the proposed change in the comment, you can actually take the proposed change and put it in there. You can see that here it's very clear that someone suggests the word might shouldn't be used. We should use can and could. Whether that's correct, please don't judge me on that. Get rid of the proposed change here. So now the comment says we should not use the word why, that might. Here is how we suggest it would be changed, and save it. So that means that anyone who wants to review or resolve the comment or decide whether your comment makes sense or not, it's going to be very clear what it is that you are proposing, where it is you're proposing it, and that makes it also much better than the current possibilities that we have when we submit just the comments in the Word template. So just to repeat myself, because it's so important that you don't forget to do that, you need to manage your comments and decide whether to submit or not submit your comment, and then validate your decision. So now you can see the buttons are disabled because there is nothing to do for you. You can, of course, adjust the filters so that you can see everything. And again, you can then just click through it and see which one, what you did, what you didn't submit, what you rejected, etc. There's also a neat little feature here that's called comments to resolve. And of course, I should have been smart and I should have shown you this before. Let me just import some other comments that are going to make, I don't think they're going to make any sense, but it doesn't matter. So those are valid rows. So now you can see I have two new comments, one here and one there. And if you go on the comments to resolve tab, you can then see all the comments that still have to be managed in some fashion. And what you can do is you can select them one by one, or you can just say select all. You can also obviously adjust your filters here. So you can, if you've decided that there is a few comments that they all don't make sense, so let me just reject them. So here, those two, they were actually meant for a different document. In this document, we're not talking about chocolate or champagne or anything. So those comments make no sense. You can just select them all, select the decision and say, do not submit this comment, and validate that decision. Oh, sorry, wrong document, for example, and you can validate that decision. And now your resolved comments filter is empty again. As I said before, you can always change your mind, right? There's always things that you can do. So maybe this one here are actually, sorry, this one, for example, I'm thinking, I said I submitted it, but oh no, I made a big mistake. I didn't actually want to do that. You can edit it first of all to make any changes, because maybe you had a typo or something in there. But you can also withdraw it and say, no, sorry, I didn't want to do that. This was a mistake. And then you can withdraw the comment and it's not there anymore as your national comment. So I think that also concludes what I wanted to show here. Estelle, any
Yes.
questions I should be answering? Probably
Yes.
yes this time.
I selected 4 questions. So the first one is it possible to have a table of comments in Word rather than Excel format with all the comments and their follow-up in the same table? This would be clearer and easier to transmit to the national experts for transparency.
So right now in the member commenting, we actually don't, sorry, I'm in the wrong menu. We don't have that. You can, if you want to submit, I think if you export your national comments, if I'm not mistaken, then if you select only the national comments, then you will, it won't let me move my window, sorry. If I do that, the national comments, those are the ones that you've submitted, and those will be in the Word format. But when you say you export all the comments, then they are unfortunately right now only in the Excel format. We don't have the Word export for all the national comments, only for the official member comments.
Okay. Um, the second question I have is that in your example, it's Jean-Pierre who wanted to know, can you briefly explain the meaning of the different stage appearing? And I think the confusion is because we have a stage 4020 and a stage 4022. So maybe
Yeah.
just explain for everybody what is the 4020 and then
Yes.
why you have two 4020.
I apologize. It's because I'm in my test environment. Usually it would only show 40.20 because you go to Enquiry. However, if in this example, this is already the second Enquiry. Okay, so it will actually show you the comments if you made any in the first Enquiry, and you could filter those out. And then this number 2, it means that we are doing a second Enquiry, which I realize isn't very often, but unfortunately, it's just the only example that I had in my test environment. So those stages allow you to filter out per stage the comments that you want to see.
Um, Then two questions about how to modify a comment. So the first one is that is asking, Tanya is asking if you can also change the type of comments because often people don't know exactly where the border between editorial and technical is. And the
Absolutely.
second one for you is, can you resubmit a withdrawn comment?
Okay. So the first question, so I'm just adding a new comment here for testing purposes. Maybe I'm adding an S here and I'm saving it. I think most people would probably just always put technical because it's the first in the list, let's say. But you can, of course, when you edit it, you can edit anything. So you can make this an editorial comment and save. And now the comment is an editorial comment. So that's very easy. When you edit a comment, you can change everything that you've also that you were also able to enter when you entered the comment. So that means you can change the type, you can change the comment, you can change the proposed change, etc. Now, can I resubmit something that I've withdrawn? No, you cannot. Let me show this again. I'm just going to show those. So this one, for example, I had. I'm sorry. No, sorry. Need to make this different. Apologies. I need to go back to my unresolved comments, the one that I just added, this one. Let's pretend I submit this one. No, I want to submit it. There you go. So now I've submitted this comment. Let me see it again. Here it is. I submitted this. And then as we said before, you can withdraw it. Okay. So if I withdraw it, then it says here, this submitted comment will be deleted. The status of the original national expert's contribution, if any, will be updated as not submitted comment. So if I now withdraw this, it disappears, it's gone forever. However, the original comment still remains. Sorry. The original comment still remains as a not submitted comment because you just deleted the submission. And of course, here you can, there you go. Here you cannot submit it again. So no. So if you withdraw a comment, it's deleted as an official national position comment. The original comment remains, but you are unable to change the status. So you would actually have to enter that one again to be able to submit it again. There you go. Something I wasn't aware of, so thank you for that question.
Next question, are all the Sorry. Are all of the changes to the comment tracked so you can see who made what changes and when?
That's again very good question. It will always track who entered the comment and on what date, right? So you can see that I entered this comment today at 8:47. Okay, a couple of hours behind. And then you can see that I decided not to submit that comment 2 minutes later, basically. It's the same here. I added it at 8:36 and I didn't submit it at 8:37. As you can see, I'm very, very quick. It's always like a minute apart, but that's how we did the demo, right? So you will see who entered the comment and when, and you will see who submitted or made the decision on that. So that you will always see.
Thank you. And so maybe last, well, I have two questions, but last for you. And can a member amend national comments once entered on national OSD? Can you
It
modify?
depends on what you mean by national OSD, right? I don't know anything about national OSD. Here we are talking about the CEN OSD, the CEN OSD member commenting. So if a national contributor goes and enters a comment, then as a voter for your NSB, you can do everything that I just shown you. So you can go and you can edit the comment. You can even delete the comment if you don't want to keep track of it. You can do everything you want. That's the whole purpose of saying when you enter a comment the first time, it's internal to your NSB only, and the voters can do whatever they feel necessary to that comment. They can delete it, they can edit it, they can move it, they can submit it, they can not submit it, they can do all of that. The member is responsible for managing the comments that they receive from their experts. And just to be very clear, if I'm only a national expert in a national mirror committee, I am unable to actually submit it as like manage. The manage button will not be there for me. So it's only the people who have the OSD voter role who can actually manage this and who should manage this.
Thank you, Dorothée. And I think I would take the next comment as a transition to our slides. Then the comment is, then the role of voter on OSD is not the same as the role on voter of the ballot. The person who have the role of voter in OSD is not always entitled to cast the vote. So yes, as we explained, and that's why I wanted to remind you about the rules. So here we're talking about official national commenting and then official national comments in OSD. So the voter role, the title OSD voter can be a bit confusing, but when we're talking about Enquiry and OSD, OSD is only for the commenting part. So it means that, as you can see, you have people in the list that are entitled to be voters, so to provide comments that are not necessarily the one who can cast vote. The audience is larger for a reason, is to help you, because with more people managing the committees that have access to the OSD, it's helping you managing all the comments that you might receive, but the rules doesn't change on who is entitled to vote. So to cast the vote in the ballot, that's really important. And so it's also something we usually advise when when you're starting to work on a document in OSD, whatever the stage is, to check that for the TC that is involved and the national committee that is involved, all your roles, all your people are properly registered in the GD with the proper role. That's really important. Then maybe on the next slide, Dorothée. Oh, you can click because, yeah, the animation is not working. But so now that you've seen how the tool is working, what are our next steps? And there's also a question in the chat about it. Is that, oh, okay, this is for inquiry, but what for the form of vote, for instance? So our next steps are that the member commenting module for inquiry is available for all projects drafted in OSD. So it's not going to be a tsunami, as you can see. We expect 8 projects that are listed below between April and June 2024, and we will propose this training again later on because as the number of documents submitted that have been drafted in the OSD will increase, then there will be more and more documents that will use the member commenting during inquiry. So that's really important to know that it will be a smooth transition. So as I said, it's only for inquiry. The OSD project team is currently implementing the member commenting for formal vote. So we expect that mid-2025, we'll have all our projects, we'll have all the drafting process available in OSD. It's not blocking, as you can see, because these are the first wave of documents that we have in OSD that will go through inquiry, so they will not go to formal vote before at least the end of the year. Then, do I need additional training? Yes and no. If you're both registered, for instance, as a voter for inquiry and a voter for formal vote, then the module is the same. You will not need in principle an additional training, but sometimes because the roles are different during formal vote, you will have additional people participating and therefore will provide a new training. But if you already know how to use it for inquiry, you will not be lost when we will do formal vote in OSD. Something else also that I wanted to mention about the number of projects to go. We had a question in the chat about whether the tool is mandatory or not at European level. So I would like to remind that unlike ISO and ISC, the tool is not default at European level. It's available on request for supported deliverables for CEN. And so that's why there will be not so many documents. Currently, we have 120 active documents in the OSD, so not all of our new projects are drafted in OSD. And so this is maybe a link to the next slide, Dorothée. So what after, if you need support, because we're going to record the session, and then you're not alone because we have a lot of things to propose for you to remind about what we discussed today. If you have to work in OSD in 6 months, for instance. So on the CEN expert site, and it's already available because we did already a first session in the section training and material, you will find the recording and the slide of the training session. You will find also an OSD documentation related to all the permissions and the roles, GD roles that you need to have for all the stages of the drafting process. So a detailed one on exactly, oh, this one can comment, this one can resolve comments, this one can, etc., etc. So this is a document that is also available on the CEN expert site. And also to avoid asking you to rewatch 1 hour 30 of training, we also prepared short video tutorials to help you. So you have 4 different ones. 3 for the voters, so how to use the option B, so load comment from file, how to make a comment national, so the management of comments, how to pause the commenting, and finally, for your national contributor, or even for voters, if you're adding comments yourself, how to enter a national comments. And we encourage to share the last video to all your national contributor. I also received in the chat a feedback that we received also during the first training session about can we get a sandbox so we can train on a national experts. It's something we can definitely ask to ISO that is managing the training environment. So we'll come back to if we manage to do it, it will be also available on the CEN expert site. Then we also encourage you to go to the ISO knowledge base and to have a look at a couple of articles, videos. Here there is a link to member commenting getting started, because in the end, it's the same tool, whether you go to ISO or whether you go to CEN. The only difference are the roles, because we don't have the same drafting process. But the tool itself, how to cast a comment, how to manage a comment, how to pose the commenting, etc., this is the same. So you can also find some information in the ISO knowledge base. Finally, if you have any additional questions, something that is blocking and so on, your contact point during the inquiry process in OSD, your contact point is and remained production at sensenelec.eu. And to, I would say, faster, to make the process faster, to get an answer, please mention that it's for OSD member commenting and your work item number in the email subjects. So it will help us to allocate the email to the relevant person in the OSD project team. Then on the next slide, if you want to know more, no, the previous one, yeah. If you want to know more about the OSD in general, because today we only focused ourselves on the member commenting, and I know that last time and also a bit today we received question on, okay, but is it going to be mandatory? How can I create my project in OSD and so on? So we have a CEN OSD project webpage on the CEN expert site where you can find all of this, all answers to all your questions and contact points as well. And for example, we are organizing monthly info session about OSD authoring. So this is the module for the working group to draft the document in OSD. We also explain how to create a project in OSD, and we also provide, as I said, support contacts. So it's a good, if you want to know more about how the project is evolving, it's also good to have a look at it from time to time, because here you can find back everything. You can also find back the complete list of projects that are being drafted in OSD if you're interested. So I would really encourage you to have a look at it. To know where we are at the European level with the OSD. And I think that's it. So we have a bit of time if we want to have some comments.
I was just looking through some of the unanswered questions yet. There is a question from Jean-Pierre coming back to the stages. Will it be possible to see the historical comments all along the life of the document? So the answer here is a very, very clear yes and no. So very clear. While we are in this member commenting mode, you will only see the comments, the national comments. Let's say it's technically a different type of comment. So if you go through an inquiry twice, for example, yes, you will be able to see the historical comments that you made in the first inquiry. However, if you're talking about all of the comments that are made during the drafting stage, outside, that's what the working group does inside of their while they are building consensus and drafting the document. Those are always visible to those working group members, but there's a very clear separation between the authoring part, so where people write the document and prepare the content, and that is siloed off from member commenting, where it's only about the official member commentings. And Helen is asking if we are getting an alert when someone has made a comment. No, you don't. There's no notification system. You'd have to go in at some stage and decide it. And can an expert who has commented on OSD get an extraction of his comments to keep a record? Yes, absolutely. They will also have the ability to export comments, the same as what I showed earlier. And then Alicia is saying the coordinator will see the document in OSD with only one comment consensus about each item, and all countries will be able to see them in the meeting. I'm not 100% sure I quite understand what you mean. So there are when you are using the option A with the NMC, then all of your experts will add all of the comments. So that means that you may have 10 comments that are the same comments. Hopefully your experts would be smart enough and not do that, but you could have 10 times the same comment or on the same thing. And it's up to you as the, if you want to call it the coordinator or the voter, to manage these and make them into one or two comments. What other members will see when the ballot closes and what CEN will see is only those comments that you have decided to submit to the OSD. So the other countries will only be able to see what you've officially submitted as your national position comments, but they will only be able to see that once the ballot has closed. So it's the same as today. No one sees your comments until the ballot is closed and the results of voting are, and the collated comments are shared. So it's the same principle. And I believe that clears our Q&A.
Okay, so we can wait maybe 2 minutes if we receive any question. Yes.